Good evening and welcome to the October 25th, 2022 regular meeting of the Gaston County Board of Commissioners. My name is Chad Brown. I serve as chairman of the board as well as serve as the Riverbend Township Commissioner. I would like to welcome our viewers and thank Spectrum Cable and AT&T for making this possible for our citizens. For our television audience and live stream audience, I would like to present your Gaston County Commission beginning on my far right.
Good evening. Bob Hovis, Crowder's Mountain Township.
Kim Johnson, Gastonia Township.
Tom Kieger, Gastonia Township.
And also tonight we have Commissioner Worley.
Good evening from Elkin, North Carolina. Thank you for having me.
Hope you get those credits in tonight for driver's ed. But so he's joined us via telephone tonight and we'll be voting via telephone. The invocation tonight will be given by Ms. Pearl Burris Floyd, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by veteran Mr. Steve Cobus. You'll please rise.
Let us bow in prayer. All wise and gracious Heavenly Father, we just come tonight with thanksgiving on our lips. Father, we thank you for all the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us and how you have protected us from danger seen and unseen. Father, we ask that you would be in our midst tonight as the commissioners conduct the business of this county, as our veterans come and be recognized, as other citizens come and receive proclamations, as the business of this county is important to you, we ask that you would be in our midst. We ask that you would continue to protect our servicemen and women who are serving abroad. Place a hedge of protection around them that soon they will come home and to enjoy the goodness of their homeland. Father, we just thank you for just being our guide, being our North Star. Father, we know that you are with us, and we will continue to give your name all glory, honor, and praise. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all you veterans that are in here. Appreciate your service. I'm going to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call on Commissioner Kieger.
You're first.
A very important part of the board's mission is to encourage citizens' participation in county government and in community involvement. In 1998, the County Commission established an annual award bearing the name of the county's namesake, Judge William Gaston, to recognize those volunteers who demonstrate exemplary commitment, dedication, and leadership since the establishment of the Gaston County has honored 65 recipients, volunteers to their services of Gaston County. This year, the Board of Commissioners has the privilege of presenting the William Gaston Award to the one outstanding individual, Kelvin C. Harris, medical doctor. At this time, I'd like to ask Dr. Harris and his family to come to the podium, and his friends or anyone who knows him to receive this distinguished award. Mr. Kieger.
Thank you. Run up here, family. I've known Kelvin for a while, serving on various boards over the years, and he has been, and I think it's included in the resolution, a big asset to Gaston County, giving of his time and talent. So I'll go ahead with the award. Dr. Kelvin C. Harris is an accomplished and well-respected OBGYN practicing with the Caramount Medical Group. He graduated from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Yay! in 1982 and the University of North Carolina School of Medicine in 1986. He completed his residency at Wayne State University, Detroit Medical Center from 1986 through 1990. Dr. Harris has provided outstanding care to Gaston County citizens for more than 3 decades. After completing his residency in Michigan, the Greensboro native moved to Gastonia in 1990 and founded Gaston Women's Health Care, which operated, I believe, from 1990 through 2007.
Exactly.
He's been with Caramount Women's Health since 2007. During his professional career at Caramount, he has served as chief of the medical staff, chair of the Credentials Committee, medical executive committee, and chair of the Department of Obstetrics. As a dedicated public servant, Dr. Harris has spent many years rendering his expertise, care, and knowledge to various organizations. He currently holds seats on the Board of Visitors for UNC Chapel Hill, the Warlick Family YMCA Advisory Board, the Gaston Vision 2040, the 101 Black Men for Highland. He has also served as a gubernatorial appointment to the Caramount Health Foundation, the gubernatorial appointment to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Science, and the North Carolina Sickle Cell Council, the Board of Directors and Alumni Association at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the Alliance Bank and Trust Board of Directors, and the John Motley Moorhead Scholarship Selection Committee. Dr. Harris has served diligently on various county boards, including the Commission on the Family, Caramount Health Board of Directors, the Health and Human Service Board. As a member of the Gaston County Health and Human Service Board from 2013 until 2022, he was known for his thoughtful and impactful contributions to the board. When asked about his service, a colleague recently remarked that he is, quote, exactly who you want to be sitting at the table to help you make critical decisions about the care of patients, the direction of the department, and for the improvement of public health across the entire community, unquote. Should we take a break? Let's see. Dr. Harris served on the Caramount Health Gaston Memorial Hospital Board of Directors from 2005 through 2012. As a physician, his insight into patient care uniquely positioned him to serve in several key functions, including the role as chair of the Caramount Health Services Board, chair of the Nominating Committee, and member of the Quality and Safety Committee. Throughout his service on the board, he provided valuable leadership and keen insight into issues facing Caramount Health. His visionary perspective and compassionate patient care has earned him numerous prestigious awards. He received the Physicians Recognition by Nurses Award in 2002, the 2006 Partner in Caring Award, Gaston Memorial Hospital, the Best in Gaston OBGYN Award in 2013, 2020, 2021, and 2022, and the Gaston's Best Doctor recognition in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. His honors also include the John Motley Moorhead Scholarship, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Outstanding Junior Residence Award, Wayne State University, OBGYN Department, and the Harvey Beach Alumni Award, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Dr. Harris is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, and was a panelist speaker at the Young Black Leadership Alliance Career Forum in 2018, co-organizer of the Mental Health Forum at Tabernacle Baptist Church in 2018, and mentor for the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Mentorship Project. Dr. Harris and his wife, Angela Harris, have 2 adult children, Kelsey and Sydney Harris. The Harrises are active members at the St. Stephen's AME Zion Church. Kelvin, the County Commission is honored to present you with the 2022 Judge William Gaston Award in recognition of your compassion, devotion, and professionalism. As one of our finest medical doctors, we are indebted to you for your many years of service and for your continued efforts to make Gaston County a better place to live. We've got, well, I'll present this to you. Maybe you can pass it to Angela. And then we're going to present him with this William Gaston Award. I believe you're the 66th person in
I want to say thank you to Mr. Keeger, to the county commissioners for this honor and this recognition. You know, obviously, I can't do things alone, so I have to thank a lot of people. I want to thank my colleagues. I want to thank my friends. I want to thank my fraternity, right here, this young man back here. I want to thank my extended family. I want to thank my wife, Angela, my daughters, Kelsey and Sydney, for their love, for their patience, for their understanding, and for putting up with sometimes my crazy schedule. So I really appreciate that. I want to thank my parents. My parents taught me very early on that it's not about me. It's about what I can do to help someone else. And I'm thankful for that. I love this community. I've been here for 32 years now. We've been here for 32 plus. And this is home. I grew up in Greensboro, but this is home. And what I want to see is that our community is the absolute best it can be for each and every citizen. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Don't walk away. Congratulations, first of all. I want to tell you, those awards that Tom talked about, 16, 17, whatever year, doesn't compare to the man that you are and the friend you are to me. Sitting in those boardrooms and listening to you, I grew from you. And I want to say thank you for what you meant to our community, what you meant to our Health and Human Services board as a whole. But you're a hell of a man. And I just want to let everybody know that you're my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
If y'all will come in the front, we'll get a photo right quick as well, Dr. Harris. Come to the middle, please, not in front of Tom's name. I will now call on Commissioner Johnson to give her next proclamation. We went a little bit out of order just to make it easier for everybody to get through here. So, Commissioner Johnson.
Dr. O'Connor?
Dr. Harris should come up because he's fundamental to the breast program at Claremont.
Dr. Harris? Whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month is celebrating its 37th year of education and awareness of this complex disease and the importance of early detection for breast cancer, and whereas much progress has been made in the fight against breast cancer over the last few decades, however, there is still urgent work to do. And whereas breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the world and the second leading cause of cancer death among women in the United States. More than 1 in 8 women and 1 in 833 men in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetimes. And whereas in 2022, more than 11,723 women in North Carolina can expect to be diagnosed with breast cancer, and more than 1,472 will likely die from the disease. And whereas with personal examinations, routine mammogram, screenings, and follow-up testing, the disease can be detected early so it can be most effectively treated and save lives. And whereas, because of early detection and increased awareness efforts, the trend in Gaston County has reversed over the last 20 years. And roughly 70% of breast cancers now presenting in stage 1, which is 100% curable, and 30% presenting in advanced stages, this reversal has resulted in a 75 decrease in mortality rates. And whereas having affordable access to screenings and early detection for all women is essential component in the fight against breast cancer. And whereas Gaston County provides screening services through the breast and cervical cancer control program. Now therefore be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Gaston County and urges our fellow citizens to become aware of the impact of breast cancer in our community and to support the fight against this terrible disease. The board further recognizes all survivors and support groups, advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who bring hope to those living with breast cancer, adopted this 25th day of October 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to thank the commission for doing this important proclamation. And again, I've been only have the privilege of calling Gaston County my home for the last 5 years. But again, the decrease and the strides that have been made with statistically proven data over the last 20 years, to be honest, is credited to the care of like Dr. Harris. Okay, so it's a privilege now to be part of the Claremont healthcare team, and so important for us to encourage breast health. Okay, thank you.
Sheriff Alan Cloninger, Tara Joyner, and District Attorney Travis Page. Please come forward. Whereas domestic violence impacts women, men, and children of every age, background, and belief, with nearly 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in the U.S. having suffered severe physical violence by an intimate partner. And whereas, while physical marks may often be the most obvious signs of harm caused by domestic violence, the true extent of the pain goes much deeper. And whereas survivors not only face abuse, but often find themselves left with significant financial insecurity, and children who witness domestic violence often experience lifelong trauma. And whereas survivors and their children benefit from an increase in trauma-informed support, clinical services, and trauma-sensitive environments, and whereas service providers and community partners have worked together to continue to meet the needs of domestic violence survivors through housing, counseling, advocacy, education, and support, and whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about preventing domestic violence and show support for the numerous organizations and individuals who provide critical advocacy, services, and assistance to survivors. Now therefore be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and urge all citizens of Gaston County to speak out against domestic violence and support local efforts to assist survivors of these crimes in finding the help and healing they need. Adopted this 25th day of October 2022.
Thank you.
Where's the doctor? I've been here 64 years.
I'm old. So this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic violence is a scourge in our county, and I'm going to give you some numbers here in just a minute. But the only way we can fight it is if y'all fight it. The men and women in uniform, from the fire departments, to the rescue squads, to the EMS, to the police, to deputies, we're there to fight it. But y'all have to fight it if we're ever going to win. Men, we have to stand up to the other men that don't. Women, you got to stand up to the other women that don't. Because usually it's someone's son or daughter who is the victim. As I say in the sheriff's office, we do unto others as we'd have them do unto us. My mama beat that into me, and I remember it very well. But think about it. We can stop domestic violence. In 2009, I got a Governor's Crime Commission grant where I was able to hire one domestic violence advocate to meet with the victims of domestic violence, help them fill out what's known as a 50B, a protective order, and go to court with them. Court is a scary place if you've just been abused by someone you thought that loved you. Since that time, through many other grants and other monies that weren't tax dollars, the domestic violence unit at the sheriff's office has grown to 6 advocates and 4 deputies that just serve domestic violence papers. We provide service Monday through Friday to 12 o'clock at night, and on weekends from 1 to 12 for anybody has a son or daughter who needs help, to help them fill out a 50B or just needs to talk about resources and so forth. But since 2009, the Gaston County Sheriff's Office has served almost 8,000 50Bs. That's 8,000 children or more that witnessed violence, 8,000 victims. But we've also served over 13,000 people. You know, that's a lot of folks. That's a lot of pain and suffering. So Gaston County needs to take a stand against domestic violence. And I'm pretty confident that the next sheriff of this county is going to keep the unit intact. He may have to come to you and ask for a couple dollars. But it does a great thing. And so continue to support that unit and what it does. But as a way of a commercial, we did a patch like this. We split our sheriff's office patch, pink for breast cancer awareness, and purple for domestic violence. And if you'd like to buy one of these, they're only $5 a piece, and you can contact Captain Monica Beckton at the sheriff's office, and she'll gladly sell you one. And this you should display, because breast cancer is very important, but also getting rid of the scourge of domestic violence is even more important. And I've got y'all a patch. Can I bring it up there to you?
Motion to accept. Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kier.
All those.
All in favor? Commissioner Worley? Take them home.
Yes, please
Thank you.
save mine for me.
Thank you, I will.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Sheriff.
If you'll deputize us, I bet we could get a heck of a platoon in here to go around here and take care of some of this mess.
These are the men that makes us free.
That's what I'm saying.
Sheriff, I want to thank you for what you've done over the past years with the car decorated. I know that's something that's out there, but we all should take a stand against domestic violence and making sure that our loved ones understand when those problems arise, don't get involved. Call law enforcement, let them take care of things. And also, I want to recognize our DA, Travis Page, is here. Tara Joyner, who was here from her division. I'm sorry, Terry. Both of y'all come up and speak and tell a little bit about what you do.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, members of the commission. It's my honor to be your district attorney here in Gaston County for the past year. Hopefully, I'll get to do it another 4 years. But domestic violence is an issue that's very near and dear to my heart. The reason is that the effects of it can last for generations. We know that the kids who grow up, who witness domestic violence, as the sheriff spoke about, they grow up and they're likely to repeat those behaviors that they learned from their parents. And so if we can do as the sheriff says and take action, we can make a lasting impact in this county, not just with today's domestic violence, but we can actually prevent tomorrow's domestic violence. And so I think this county and this commission, not only for your words tonight, this proclamation, words are very important and they're very powerful, but also for your actions and what this county has done already to support survivors of domestic violence. You've supported the sheriff's office in their work and their advocates. You've supported our Family Justice Center. You've also created a safe space in this courthouse just around the corner on the second floor where folks can come and meet with a member of the sheriff's office or an advocate and to fill out that paperwork, to get that protection order, to speak with a counselor. And so we're making great strides here in Gaston County about this issue. And so I thank this commission, I thank this county for its leadership, and I'm honored to serve alongside you. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Tara Joyner from Hope United.
Yes, thank you very much. I could never be as eloquent as what was just stated before you. So I will say that I am grateful for the collaboration. I am grateful for the partnership and the work that has been completed here in Gaston County. I fully trust that this work will continue, and I am honored to be here and be able to help bring forth the mission. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And ladies.
We now call on Commissioner Hovis to give the next two proclamations. Wonder who did that. Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's actually three. If I could get Ms. Costner and her guests or friends to come please join me, I would appreciate it. This is a commendation to recognize Ms. Sheridan Amia Costner, who is our current reigning Miss Gastonia 2022. Whereas, through the Miss Gastonia Scholarship Pageant, young women from Gastonia, Gaston County, and surrounding areas are afforded the unique opportunity to celebrate service, scholarship, style, and success, which are the foundation of the Miss America program. And whereas, Miss Gastonia's Scholarship Pageant gives young women the unique opportunity to showcase their talent, communication skills, community service, endeavors, personal style, and individuality, and complement to the living a healthy lifestyle. And whereas the 2022 Miss Gastonia Scholarship Pageant was held Saturday, January the 2nd, 2022 at Stuart Kramer Auditorium, and 10 outstanding young women competed for the title of Miss Gastonia 2022. And whereas Miss Gastonia 2022, Sheridan Amia Costner, is a 19-year-old junior, college junior, honor student at Winston-Salem State University with future plans to become a sports physical therapist, won the title of Miss Gastonia 2022 and a $1,000 college scholarship and other prizes. Whereas we congratulate Ms. Costner for her recently gained admission into a specialty medical training program at Wake Forest Medical School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And whereas Miss Gastonia 2022, Ms. Costner, made personal appearance to promote her community service platform, Plush Preemies, and represented Gastonia on June the 25th, 2022 in the Miss North Carolina Pageant Scholarship in High Point, North Carolina. And whereas by winning the prestigious title of Miss Gastonia 2022, Miss Costner was only 2 wins away from becoming Miss America 2022. Now therefore be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners congratulates and commends Sheridan Amia Costner, Miss Gastonia 2022, for her hard work and commitment to excellence and for her service as an ambassador for the greater Gaston community, adopted this 25th day, October 2022.
Good evening. To Gaston County Board of Commissioner Chair Chad Brown, Board of Commissioners Gaston County Manager Dr. Kim Eagle, other distinguished guests, family, friends, and the community of Gaston County. It's such a pleasure to be here this evening, and I'm so honored to receive this recognition tonight. Being Miss Gastonia isn't just about the title. It's about representing my hometown, such as my social impact initiative. Being born premature made choosing my social impact initiative no struggle at all. Donating plush blankets to children's hospitals allows me to showcase and be able to be one of many, many faces to show love and support here in Gastonia. Holding this title is a huge honor to me, and I have no regrets as far as being crowned Miss Gastonia or the experiences I have had in this year. Thank you for the opportunity to serve and represent you as Miss Gastonia 2022.
If y'all would, can we do a photo, Mr. Chair? If you would come up to the center, we'll do a photo.
I gotta ask, young lady, what was your talent?
It was tap dance.
Okay. Wow. You've been doing that your whole life?
Yes, sir.
If y'all just move over, where it's coming this way.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You don't know how awesome your mama is, girl.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Meeks and Kurt Guest to come up, please, for the veterans acknowledgement. Or either one of those gentlemen here. I didn't see Mike. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to ask all of these veterans at the end of this proclamation, if you would, please join me in the front for a group photo. I think some of our staff have handed out little ribbons, and if you didn't get one of these, please see someone. We've got these little red, white, and blue ribbons for you to wear, and for the county as we go through this period of time recognizing Veterans Week. So if you didn't get one, be sure to see someone. This is a proclamation to proclaim October the 25th through Veterans Day, November the 11th, as Operation Green Light in Gaston County. Whereas the residents of Gaston County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all the women and men who have selflessly served our county and community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who have served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and the way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Gaston County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas there are more than 13,600 veterans residing in Gaston County with an estimated 19,000 dependent family members. And whereas veterans continue to serve the community in the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, and continued civic service. And whereas approximately 200,000 servicemen transition into civilian communities annually. And whereas active service members transitioning from the military service are at a high risk of suicide during their first year after military service. And whereas Gaston County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted. Therefore now therefore it be resolved with designation that as a green light veteran for Gaston County, Gaston County declares October the 25th through the 2022 through Veterans Day, November the 11th, 2022, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Be it further resolved that the observance of Operation Greenlight, Gaston County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all these who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in the window of their place of business or residence. This is adopted by the Board of County Commissioners on the 25th day of October 2022. And just to express to you, this is not just a Gaston County initiative. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners has made Operation Greenlight a priority in all 100 counties in the state of North Carolina. And if you haven't found one, your home improvement stores, your craft stores, many of those places have a green light that you can use to participate. County buildings will be illuminated. There'll be a lot of things that will take place during this time to recognize the service and the sacrifice that veterans have done to give us the freedoms that we all cherish and embrace today. And that's proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners. If any of you gentlemen, ladies, or service people, please stand. Veterans. And if you would please, if you would all please line up here in the front, we'll take a group photo. Absolutely, yes sir, go ahead. As y'all line up in the front, this gentleman's gonna make a statement since Mike and them are.
I know all you veterans are in here agree with me saying the help that we get is much appreciated, and I want to acknowledge these two ladies right over here, Deborah Jarman, Sevilla Byers. Those two ladies right there have helped so many of us beyond what anybody knows. Thank you very much.
Bob, I would like to ask Ms. Byers and Ms. Jarman to come up and join us in this as well.
Please.
You're gonna have to squeeze way in.
Tighten up, Buttercup. We're gonna have to send Adam outside. Tighten up.
Adam, you may have to take 2 pictures, each half.
There you go, Adam. Get up on the table.
Act like y'all scared of each other. Get a little closer. Y'all was closer than that before.
Adam, wait a minute for Richard to come out from the back.
He went home. Hold on just a second, Adam. Richard's supposed to be joining us. Oh. Well, no, I think it's a different Richard. I thought he went home.
You may have stayed, you may have gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay. Tell Adam to go ahead.
It's a good thought. It's a good thought. I don't know why. It's not. Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies.
I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, again for your service. And I will tell you that I don't know who the baddest person in here is, but I'll find out.
I'll let you.
Commissioner Hovis.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. And to complete the trifecta for tonight, I'd like to ask Kevin Gordon, our Emergency Services Director, to please join me. And there are quite a few people from our emergency services area in terms of firefighters, volunteer firefighters that are here tonight. And if all of you would like to join us up here as well, I have some certificates to hand out to you in reference to that as well. Don't be shy. I haven't bitten anybody today, but you know, there's always an opportunity. Each year, the Board of County Commissioners honors Gaston County volunteer firefighters and rescue squad members who have reached the 10, 20, 30, and 40-plus years of service. Our dedicated volunteers undergo hours of rigorous training to provide these valuable services to our citizens. It is with great pleasure that we commend this year's recipients for receiving each of these impressive milestones. And the Agricultural Center Fire Department, Brent Guffey. If you'll go up there, because we're going to take a picture when we get there. I won't let you get too far away. Nice job, Brad. Timothy Jake Lineberger. I'll give him. Okay. Jordan Michael. Okay. Jordan Michael Sabal. Kevin, you can. Yeah, why don't you pull the next one out? Okay. So I don't get it messed up. Robert Wayne Smith, 21 years of service. Thank you, sir. Kenneth Shane Towery, 26 years of service. Thank you, sir. Get this straight in a minute. For the Bessemer City Volunteer Fire Department, Jordan Barnes, 22 years of service. Eric Broom, 34 years of service. Dusty Carpenter, 27 years of service. Chad Ferris, who's representing all that crowd tonight, 34 years of service. Join me, please, thank you. Rocky Hamrick, 26 years of service. Charles Harbin, 17 years of service. Matt Huss, 15 years of service. Mike Paragroy, 31 years of service. Jamie Ramsey, 38 years of service. John Revels, 24 years of service. David Splone, 43 years of service. Mark Splone, 30 years of service. Dale Williams, 13 years of service. For Ranlow Fire and Rescue, Ted Hendricks, 35 years of service. And for Trinata, Daryl Knipe, 24 years of service. Jordan Bumgardner, 12 years of service. And Josh Pierce, 10 years of service. We in Gaston County hold our entire indebtedness to these individuals who have fought and protected our properties and protected our lives for citizens in Gaston County. Mr. Keeger wore his pink and Ms. Johnson for breast cancer awareness. I wore my red in honor of our firefighters and them putting their lives at risk and helping protect our properties. We could not do this without all the volunteer work that goes into this. It's not an easy task. The hours and hours of service training doesn't even begin to touch the surface of what these gentlemen have to do. And we're entirely indebted. And on behalf of Gaston County, we want to thank you again. Again, thank you, gentlemen.
I make a motion to adopt.
The next item on the agenda is commendations to commend the 2021 Gaston County Employees of the Year. If you are an Employee of the Year, if you'll please step to the left over by Dr. Eagle. Gaston County employs approximately 1,830 dedicated employees. And whereas each year the employees nominate and select from among themselves the most outstanding Gaston County employees. And whereas an outstanding Gaston County employee is one who has rendered excellent service, performed in a manner that has won the respect and admiration of his or her peers, and exhibited the attitude of professionalism to be emulated by others. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Gaston County Board of Commissioners commends that the 2021 County Commissioner Employees of the Year, the 2021 Heroic Service Award recipient, and the 2021 Distinguished Service Award recipient, and the 2021 Teamwork Award recipients, and the County Manager's Award recipient, and expresses its appreciation for the exceptional and dedicated work to all the outstanding people of Gaston County employees. Employee of the Year and other award winners of 2021 were given at a different time, and a services and a commemoration of their commended actions. Be it further resolved that the County Commission commendation and the names of the 2021 recipients made to be part of the minutes of the County Commission adopted on this day, the 25th of October, 2022. Dr. Eagle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, we had a luncheon about a month ago to celebrate these employees. We have 4 in attendance with us tonight, and I have their certificates to share. We have Gina Anderson, Rebecca Edison, Ian Martin, and Jim Barber. Do you want pictures, Adam?
Yes, please. Don't be shy, come on.
Yeah.
Come on up.
Trying to help set out mug shots.
Thank you all for being patient with that time. The commission will now take citizens' comments under 6 public hearings. Comments will be taken for the following issues: zoning map change Z22-22, zoning map change Z22-25. Before we begin, let me outline the rules of the hearing. Citizens wishing to make comments will be recognized by the chair, then requested to step to the microphone for the comments. Citizens will state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. All questions shall be directed to the chair for response. The chair shall rule on all points of order during the meeting. Is there anybody? I hear a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. All in favor? Mr. Worley?
Yes.
Unanimous, Madam Clerk. Item A, the County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing, zoning map change Z22-22, Mary and Richard Martin, or Ricky Dean, if y'all really want to know. Ms. Sarah Penley, Building and Development Services Senior Planner, Building and Development Services, will provide an overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Penley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As mentioned, this is a rezoning or general rezoning application for Z22-22. The owners and applicants are Mary and Richard Martin. The location of the property is 136 Oak Hill Street, Iron Station, for parcel identified as 306891. The request is for 2.5 acres, and the change request is from the R1 Single Family Limited Zoning District to the R2 Single Family Moderate Zoning District. And if we can refer to the maps, please. The property is located off of Oak Hill Street, which is just south of the Lincoln County, Gaston County line. It is west of the town of east of the town of High Shoals and just north of the town of Stanley. This is an aerial view of the property with the subject parcel highlighted in blue. It's located on a residential street with other tracts of vacant property within close proximity to the subject site. The zoning is R1, single-family limited for the immediate vicinity with some light commercial to the south and the west. And zooming out, the zoning is consistent for the single-family limited with some light commercial along the corridor. This is a map indicating the owners who were notified for the purpose of public hearing, and a listing of those owners who were notified for public hearing. Mr. Chairman, the Planning Board met on October the 3rd and recommended approval of a vote 7-1 in favor of approving this application. Staff has not received any calls or requests for information. Signs and notices were mailed and posted in accordance with county policy. And this concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Penley. Are there any comments from the applicants at this time that wish to be made? Seeing none, are there any citizens' comments that wish to be made? Are there any questions from the Board of Commissioners?
One, please. Ms. Penley?
Yes, sir.
Were you at the planning board meeting?
Yes, sir, I was.
Did the individual that voted against it give a particular reason?
Yes, sir, he did.
Can you share that?
I can. This particular planning board member votes against all R2 zoning requests.
Okay, enough said.
He's a home builder.
He's another Philbeck.
Thank you, Ms. Penley. Are there any other comments or questions from the Board of Commissioners? If there are no additional comments, I will now declare the public hearing closed. I will ask the county attorney to summarize the planning board recommendation. Mr. Stetser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The planning board voted 7-1, finding this was consistent with a comprehensive land use plan and recommended approval.
Thank you, sir. Motion made
To accept.
to accept by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Worley?
Aye.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
The next item, Mr. Stetser, will you please provide a consistency statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The proposed rezoning is in the Suburban Development Future Land Use Plan. The area consists of significant single-family residential areas that exist around commercial pockets. The use going from R1 to R2 will maintain the subject parcel as residential nature, which is consistent with the significant single-family residential areas located within the suburban development designation.
Thank you, sir. The County Commission will now take citizens' comments on public hearing zoning map change Z22-25, Philip Breedlove, applicant. Ms. Sarah Penley, Building and Development Services Senior Planner, Building and Development Services, will provide a brief overview. Once she has completed her comments, citizens' comments will be taken. Ms. Penley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned, this is application Z22-25. The applicant is Philip Breedlove. The property owners are Bradley Gross and Daniela Mann. The property is located at 111 McCarver Road in Gastonia, and this involves two parcels, 146576 and 146575, for a combined total acreage of 1.78 acres. The request is a map amendment changing it from the R1 single-family limited zoning district with the U.S. Urban Standards overlay to the R2 single-family moderate zoning district with the U.S. Urban Standards overlay. And if we can refer to the maps, please. This property is located again in McCarver Road, which is just off Forbes Road, east of Highway 321 and south central of the city of Gastonia. This is an aerial view of the properties. The subject site is highlighted in blue. As you can see, it's surrounded by mostly residential neighborhood type structures. There are some vacant pieces, but mostly developed properties. There is one commercial building to the left and residential structure abutting it to the west. As mentioned, it is zoned R1, single-family moderate, single-family limited. It does have some R2 single-family moderate as well as R3 single-family general within the vicinity. You may recall the C1 zoning, which was passed recently to accommodate an existing commercial site. So it is located directly beside a light commercial zoning district, which houses a residential structure as well. And zooming out, it's consistent for all three residential zoning districts, as well as some industrial zoning once you get closer to the 321 corridor. This is a map of the property owners who were notified for the purpose of public hearing and a listing of those property owners. Mr. Chairman, the Planning Board met on October 3rd regarding this application and voted to recommend approval with a vote of 7-1. There was limited discussion about the application itself. One of the newer members had some questions regarding the comprehensive land use plan, but otherwise there was no discussion regarding the application itself. And as mentioned, they voted with a split vote 7-1 to approve this application. Staff did receive one call for information. The customer seemed satisfied with the application request and did not disclose any further comments. And notices were mailed out. The site was posted according to county policy. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Ma'am. Any comments from the applicant at this time about this issue? Seeing none, are there any citizens' comments on this issue at this time? Yes, ma'am, please step up and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Shakara Allen. I stay at 313 Wesley Drive. So I did receive a notice, but I did have a couple questions if the applicants are here, or
You'll just direct that
to
to me,
you.
ma'am, and I'll
Okay.
take care of the rest.
So my questions. I would like to know the plan or what is the projected plan of the area that they're going to be making or
The applicant was unable to attend the meeting, so I know in advance that Mr. Breedlove would not be present. To remind the board, this is a general rezoning, so we are considering the list of all uses from one district to the other. But to answer her question, the applicant has indicated that he would like to put a double-wide manufactured home on the property if approved and allowed.
so would it just be one home or multiple homes?
He owns 2 parcels of property, so if rezoned, I would have to check the acreage, but I believe those lots are big enough. He would be able at most to put 1 home on each parcel, at most.
And there'll be no remiss for a trailer park if that's what she's wanting to know.
And they cannot be subdivided further. I know that sometimes
correct.
is a popular question. They can be recombined into a total of 1.78 acres, but those parcels cannot be subdivided further. So the maximum density of housing would be 2 homes on that area. One
One on
home
each.
per parcel.
Per parcel,
So
okay.
if he's having the 2 homes or 2 parcels rezoned, the maximum allowance would be 2 homes, one on each parcel.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I had another question, because it didn't have on the map, it was gonna be an overlay or any, like if they're doing any type of construction or anything, it didn't have if it would be an overlay onto my property.
I can answer that
Please
as
feel
well.
free.
Yes, the overlay district, the urban standards overlay district does not, it is over that entire area, and that only applies to new construction and new development, so that would not have any would not apply to any existing residential structures or uses. So if you needed to come in to get a permit for your existing home for any reason, that would not apply to you. It only applies to new development.
Okay. Is there an expected start time or start date and a length of time?
May I, Mr. Chairman? If the application is approved, they would be allowed to pull permits for new construction as early as tomorrow. The length of the permitting process is not my area of expertise, I'm sorry, but they would have to go through the zoning and permitting process, which we could follow up to, with the building inspections department. But it's a lengthy process
Ms. Finley?
it would take a couple months before they would be able to, in other words, a house is not just gonna be out
Yeah.
there this
Ms.
week.
Finley, would it behoove you, ma'am, I'm just asking just for making sure you get what you want. If we get her name and number, we convey that to her, all the questions, and that way you get all the information plus some, if that helps you. All we want to do is make sure you're happy.
Yeah, that's fine. I just had some questions.
Yeah, keep
about-
going.
Yeah. Do I give it to,
You can give it to me, we'll accept it, or you can give it to Ms. Finley to accept, but all we want to do is make sure you get what you need, and then some, if you need something after additional, for when they get the permitting and when it starts through the offices, when they go and pay their money and do everything, that's when everything will start. They can convey that to you as well.
But if you had some opposition or some comments or anything like that, this is the opportunity that's what this board would like to hear. If you have any concerns or if you have any comments of that nature, they would want to hear that now. Any questions like this, I'm happy to discuss with you after the meeting or by business phone tomorrow, either way.
Okay.
If that helps the board and
We just want you to feel comfortable, man. That's all we want to do.
Okay, no, you're fine. I mean, my main concern or just because I know when I looked at the map and based on the area, the other R2 areas are, like trailer home parks. So I was just wondering if that's what they plan on building, but they did explain to me that it'll only be
Right.
two.
Just one for each parcel.
Correct. And, as long as it doesn't interrupt and come over on my side, I'll be fine.
We'll be all over through inspections part with Mr. Skiba. If you have
Okay.
any questions, you can come to him afterwards. He'll be glad to give you his phone number. That way you can talk directly to the, Mr. Skiba.
Building director. Okay. Okay, that's
No,
all I
thank
have.
you.
That's all I have right now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other comments that citizens wish to make right now about this issue? Seeing none, are there any from the Board of Commissioners? Mr. Commissioner Hovis.
Second.
1 second. If there are no additional comments, I'll have to close the public hearing. Then I will ask our county attorney to summarize the recommendations from the planning board. Mr. Stetzer.
Mr. Chairman, the planning board recommended 7-1 to approve this request, finding it to be consistent with the comprehensive land use plan.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Commissioner Worley?
Aye.
Unanimous, Madam Clerk.
thank you so much.
Mr. Stetzmer, if you'd please give the consistency statement.
Yes, sir. The proposed rezoning is in the rural community's future land use plan. The area consists of residential buildings on smaller lots built closer to the roadway. These areas may not serve a purpose other than providing homes, but still maintains a neighborhood look and feel. The use going from R1 to R2 will maintain the subject parcel as residential in nature, which is consistent with the purpose of providing residential housing while maintaining a neighborhood feel within the rural community's designation.
Thank you, sir. This concludes our tonight's public hearing. The next item on the agenda is approval of the business agenda. Are there any revisions or to the business agenda that wish to be items that wish to be pulled?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Kieger. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Worley?
Aye.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next item is approval of the minutes. You provided a draft of the minutes from the regular meeting of 9/27. Are there any revisions? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Kieger, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Worley?
Aye.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. The next item on our agenda is citizens' recognition. Our next item is citizens' recognition. A portion of the board's agenda is set aside for the purpose of allowing citizens an opportunity to offer comments and suggestions. This comment period is not intended to require the commission or staff to answer questions or provide a response. Questions requiring a response shall be answered as soon as possible through the county manager's office. Citizens' recognition will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be made with adding your name and address for the record at the podium. The first citizen to speak is Honorable Jesse Caldwell. Always.
Sorry, I was saying hello to an old friend there. I am
Oh.
supposed to give my address? or-
Yes, well,
okay.
I tell you what, don't.
Oh, I
We
don't
have it
mind.
for the record. Is that okay?
Jesse Caldwell, Superior Court Judge here in Gaston County. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak. For those of the veterans that are still here with us and those that have left and veterans everywhere, I want to thank you very much for your service to our great nation. We can never thank you enough, but we can certainly try. I come to speak with you tonight on the issue of law enforcement, specifically as it relates to the Gaston County Police and the police of Gaston County. So first I want to recognize Mr. Sheriff, Sheriff Alan Cloniger, for his many years of dedication and service to our county. The Sheriff's Office has a variety of functions, not just traditional law enforcement, although they do an excellent job of that. And I've had interactions with them throughout my legal career. We are forever indebted to your service. We thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. Chief Ramey, also Chief of the County Police Department, whom I've served with on the Juvenile Crime Prevention Committee for many years, and law enforcement officers everywhere. You folks are here a couple of nights a month. I cut my teeth in the courtrooms here in this building, trying criminal cases just about every single day. I've been here a lot more than you guys here. I thank you very much for your service. But my point there is, as a former recovering criminal defense attorney, I got to know and respect the men and women of law enforcement in this great county over the years. And with very few exceptions, I've been absolutely impressed and astonished by what these men and women do for us, for you, every single day in some of the most difficult circumstances that you can imagine. I've had the opportunity since I've become a judge to do third shift ride-alongs with most of the departments in this county, including Mount Holly, Cramerton, Belmont, Gastonia, Gaston County, Cherryville, Bessemer City, Dallas, and Lowell and Stanley, and I'm not done yet. It's given me a unique perspective into, because what we see on the second hand is much more sterile and in a vacuum. To do a ride-along with the law enforcement officer and see what they do on a day-to-day basis or night-to-night basis is really quite something, and I just wanted you all to be aware of the hard work that these men and women do. People like in the county police department, Officer Anthony and his canine partner Mac, to pull over a suspected drunk driver, not knowing the situation you're going to get into, to respond to a domestic call. These men and women do a lot for you, and I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate and acknowledge that these folks need to be well-funded, well-equipped, well-trained, and well-respected by you. They've certainly earned my respect. I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak about this. And I'll just end with saying this. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, if you run into trouble, you call these folks. They will come, and they will come to help you. Thank you very much.
We thank you for your service as well. The next item is the approval of the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with no items pulled?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Keeger, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Commissioner Worley?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. And with that decision, Ms. Tarbush, if you'll please stand. I want to call your attention to an item that was just adopted as part of the consent agenda. Ms. Chelsea Tarbush was appointed the new Gaston County Tax Director effective immediately, October 25th. She is with us tonight. Chelsea, if you'll please stand. We already done that. And if you'll all congratulate her with a round of applause. Chelsea was appointed in 2022, June of 2022, as the interim tax director following Cecil Jackson's departure. Chelsea has worked tirelessly for the tax office in several roles over the last 6 months, including quality control manager, paralegal, bankruptcy, delinquency supervisor. Chelsea has an assessment administration specialist designation from the International Association of Assessing Officers. That's a lot of A's. And serves as many local and international boards. We're excited on the next step of Chelsea's career and have the confidence in her ability to lead great things in our tax department. I want to say thank you, congratulations, but get that tough skin ready because it's coming. Commissioner Hovis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the opportunity of attending one of the tax department's public information opportunities to let the citizens know what's going on with the tax reevaluation, and this one occurred in Bessemer City at the Allen Ferris Community Center. Ms. Tarbush had a very professional presentation. She and the tax people answered numerous questions, most of which did focus on the revaluation process, and they handled the public with just amazing compassion and understanding. We get that from all of our departments, but this department needs to certainly understand the sensitivity of what they're doing, and she represents that, and her team does. And as a county commissioner, I am very receptive and very supportive of their actions. We can only ask that all of our citizens will listen to the presentations, absorb the information, and become more informed citizens of Gaston County as we work towards this process. I actually had the opportunity to speak and tell a few things in reference to what we as commissioners see in terms of this process, because we will have the final say once the reevaluation is done and we go to prepare the budget for 23-24 to set a tax rate. And that will fall upon this board's responsibility, not her department. So I would want to thank her and all of her staff, and continue to wish Cecil the best. Didn't really get to tell him goodbye, because next thing I know, he was here and gone. I don't think he hardly packed a bag. I think he had somebody come and get it to get out of town, but he was ready to get down to his new opportunity. But anyhow, thank you, congratulations, and Gaston County will be well served by her true compassion for understanding citizens and trying to give them the answer for very complex situations. Thank you.
Little enough to know you're grouped out there. Thank you for guys for showing up and showing your support for Chelsea. But I think the biggest thing is you become the front line for who we are, and we know the utmost integrity is there in that department. So thank you guys, and just let the sheriff know if you need any help. No items were pulled from the agenda tonight. The next item is appointments. Mr. Hovis.
Mr. Chair, I have no appointments.
Mr. Johnson.
I have one reappointment to the Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority, Jonathan Fletcher.
Second. All in favor? Commissioner Worley?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I seconded it, I'm sorry. I know you were walking by. Commissioner Worley, do you have any appointments?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Commissioner Keeger?
Ed Smith, reappointment to the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee.
Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? Commissioner Worley?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. I have one for Commissioner Freitas, Industrial Facilities and Pollution Control Financing Authority. A reappointment requested by Mr. Donald Pasow. Seconded by Commissioner Hovis. All in favor? Mr. Worley?
Yes.
It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Next item is reports. Commissioner Hovis.
Mr. Chair, I have none tonight.
Mr. Johnson.
No reports at this time.
Commissioner Keeger.
Just real briefly, I'm attended the State Commissioners Directors meeting in Winston last week, and I think we all got emailed the legislative goals that the association Did y'all get that?
Keep going. Yes.
We did get them?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will not give this to Donna to pass on to y'all. And our new, the president of our board, Tracy Johnson from Washington County, her initiative for the year, the president's initiative, is to expand broadband throughout the state. Allegedly, there are less than half the households that have cable have broadband. So that's what
I would
you'll
like
be
something
working
for
on.
free as well. Commissioner Worley, you have any reports? I know you're at a
He said
report
no.
now.
He said no.
Thank you.
No report tonight, Mr. Chair.
I have no report. I'm going to go back to appointments of the designee for the 2022 NCACC Legislative Goals Conference, voting delegate and alternate. I would like to ask Commissioner Hovis if he'd like to do that again.
Yes, sir.
Motion made by myself to appoint Commissioner Hovis, seconded by
Me?
Commissioner Johnson. All in favor? Mr. Worley,
Congratulations, Mr. Hobie.
would you care to be the alternate, sir?
Yes, I would be
I
fine.
promote. I make
I'll
a
that
motion that.
I'll second it.
Tom makes the motion for Commissioner Worley to be the alternate, seconded by myself. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Worley,
I will vote for me also.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. If y'all don't understand, it's been a rough night tonight. The manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You each have a copy there at your seat of a year-end review document. It's a 3-page document that just gives some highlights. I've just completed, as of August, my 3rd year serving as your county manager. So this is a summary of just some of the key highlights. It's not intended to be all-inclusive. It's divided into 3 sections based on priorities: long-term financial stability, employee and community engagement, and a culture of innovation and performance. So I will be distributing this to you via email as well, so that you have this information prior to our subsequent conversations, and then the survey that you'll have to complete at the end of the year. That is all.
Thank you, and congratulations on 3 years. We didn't know. I had to throw you a party later. County Attorney.
No report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other matters need to come before the board at this time?
I would like to mention one other issue from the state association. I've served on it maybe 6 years in the past, and it is, you know, it's heavily a liberal association, good, bad, or indifferent. And the assets that the organization has now is pushing $30 million. And I just don't see the reason, if there's an increase this year in our dues, that, you know, we don't, as a board, send a resolution
Take all 31 million.
to stipulating that, you know, and when's enough enough?
I get it.
That's
all?
all. Mhm.
Tonight, we voted on the consent agenda to move the November 8th combined work session to Thursday, November the 10th, due to the election of several people in this room tonight. The regular meeting, it was going to be moved to November the 10th, 6 p.m. here in the Harley B. Gaston Public Forum. This concludes our meeting for tonight. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please send those or comments, email to Donna Buff at 704-866-3196. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Commissioner Hovis, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor? Commissioner Worley? It is
night, all.
unanimous,
Yes.
Madam Clerk, and good night, veterans.